Greetings and salutations. Seahawks Palaver here, and today I want to talk a little bit about the reshaping and the reforming of our defensive line over this first week of free agency. What's interesting is that our big money investment here in Dre'mont Jones, he plays a very much more dynamic position with Denver than ostensibly the position he's replacing in Quentin Jefferson. Quentin Jefferson was cut when Dre'mont Jones was signed. Shelby Harris was also cut, allowing us to sign Jarran Reed, bring Jarran Reed back into the nest, as they say. He used to be a Seahawk. But if we look at Quentin Jefferson real quick, 6'4", 291. He played 270 snaps as a defensive tackle, B-gapping. Only played 2 snaps at nose, 263 over the tackle, more like a 5 technique. And then he played outside the tackles on 28 snaps, which is more like kind of like a pass rush situation. Now, if you look at Dre'mont Jones, he played 713 snaps, so he played a lot more snaps than Jefferson did. He B-gapped 202 of those, 301. He was over the tackle, and then he was outside the tackle, 209 snaps at 6'3", 281, which is very impressive. And I mentioned it a little bit in the last video when we first signed him, my reaction. I didn't know he played that much outside the tackles. I mean, I saw a lot of plays where he was out in space, playing the run, playing the flats, and acquitted himself well in doing so. I mean, he graded out. I mean, who knows how Pro Football Focus grades these things, but he acquitted himself well in just about every snap I played. He didn't really blow a whole lot. He was always impacting something. Very good dynamic player. And I think he definitely earned this contract that he got here with Seattle. But it was just very interesting seeing 209 snaps outside the tackles, because that is not how we played our defensive linemen last year. Quentin Jefferson here, 28 snaps outside the tackle, which is ostensibly the player he's replacing. Again, just very different style of play here, different expectations. So I'm very interested to see what we're going to do with Dre'mont Jones this coming season, because he's a little bit more dynamic of a player than we've had in the past. Now let's look at Shelby Harris. Again, Shelby Harris didn't play the nose either. He only played 8 snaps there. Most of the time he was traditional, defensive tackle in a 3-person front or a 3-4 under. I guess we played a lot because we shaded a lot. So 395 snaps there, 148 as like a 5 technique over the tackles. So very traditional play for him. He acquitted himself well, was really good, run defender, and we're going to miss that because neither of the players that we have signed really matched his skill in that regard. But again, it's Pro Football Focus. Who really knows, how they're grading things? I think there's a little bit of a observational bias in there, defensive bias. I think there's a lot of things that affect the gradings. But regardless, if you look at how Jarran Reed played, again, not at the nose. He played, more traditional 3-4 defensive end, or I don't know what. He came from the Packers. I'm not sure what they played. But this is where he lined up, in the B-gap and over the tackles. Occasionally outside, that was probably more, not because of his pass rush ability, more like short yardage, most likely, is why he was outside the tackles. So, it's just interesting that we've added this dynamic player in Dre'mont Jones. We added a solid defensive tackle in Jarran Reed, but we still need help on the nose, because right now we have Al Woods. And don't get me wrong, I love Al Woods. A lot of times when I saw him playing last year, he was my favorite person on the defensive line, if not the entire field. He played so well at times last year, but 374 snaps, that's it. That's all he played. And he's getting up there. He's what, 30, 35? Or going to be 35 this year? I don't know exactly, but by the time I hit like 33, I was done aging. I didn't want to do it anymore. So I don't know how Al Woods feels about that, but he played 374 snaps, 179 of those at the nose, okay, and then 187 in a shaded area. So, Pete also spoke about Poona Ford, who has not been re-signed yet, how he's playing out of position, and that's why he's had a down year. If you look at how we used to play Poona Ford, we had him, even when we were playing a 3-4 back in 2018-19, 20, we had him, in a nose tackle position in the A gap a lot, right? And then it wasn't until 21 and 22 where we had him B gapping more and playing over the tackle more. Is that what Pete's referring to? Is him playing too much and too out of position? I'm not sure. I can't say for certain. He played 642 snaps. Maybe that's too much for him. I can't say for certain. I'm not putting it forward. He played 24 at nose most of the time, B gapping, and then occasionally, the other times over the tackle. So, Brian Monet was our other guy. Well, that's not the good one. Here we go. Here's Brian Monet. 366 pounds. I did not realize that he had that much beef to him. Way to go, Brian Monet. That is awesome that you can handle that. Or can he? He like his leg disintegrated towards the end of the season, and we don't even know if he's going to be able to play this year. He has been hurt, and I don't know what's going to happen. But he played 271 snaps, so he was the spell at nose for Al Woods. He B-gapped occasionally, but most of the time his primary responsibility was spelling Al Woods at nose, and now he's hurt, so we don't know if he's going to get back. So we still have a gigantic hole at nose. Neither Jarran Reed nor Dre'mont Jones, has really played that position traditionally. Let's look at Jarran Reed back in the day. Let's look at his career. Where is he? All right, so with us again, just like with Puna Ford, he played more earlier on in his career. He played against the nose, lined up over center a couple times. But again, it's not traditionally what he does. Maybe he can come back and do it. He's 307. He can probably handle it. But I think that's just the position to add in free agency. I'm again a big was it Ashawn? What's his name? Ashawn Robinson. I really love to sign him. He's a great player. I don't think he'd be too expensive. I think he'd be, if we have the money, sign him. But otherwise, the draft, huge Mazi Smith fan. But I think all throughout the draft, there are a lot of good people that can have like a Brian Monet role where they might not be the best at what they do, but they have the frame and weight to do it. It takes a special person to play nose, and I think we're just gonna have to invest some draft stock in a nice nose tackle. Whenever I'm doing my mocks, I always make room for Mazi Smith. I think he's a very special player. Not many people are that big and that strong and that agile, that fast, that quick. Mazi Smith is the man at nose. I'd love to see him on our team, and I think it'd be sad if we don't draft him. Right? And I don't necessarily know that he's a target for Seattle, but that's who I want. And I know the obvious elephant in the room is Jalen Smith, who I don't think Seattle's going to draft. I think he's off their board completely. I just do not think. And Jim Nagy said something on the radio similarly, saying after putting so much emphasis on character and these high value players last year, to go back on that 1 year later after they absolutely nailed a draft last year with that philosophy, I don't think we're going after Jalen Carter. I don't even think he's on the board. Even at our pick 20, I'm not sure that we take him. We'll see, but that's my feeling right now. Is I think he is just, fleeing the scene of an accident where a teammate and a staffer were killed because you were racing and drunk, and he's done it before. I mean, he was cited for something. I just don't think so. I don't think this is someone that's actually going to target, and I know that that's going to ruffle a lot of feathers. Mine too. I mean, I wish he was on the board, but it's because I wish he didn't do the things he did. I wish he was a different person, but he's not. Well, I mean, that'll play out over the course of the months. This is just from the information that we have now. This is how I feel, and I think this is how the Seahawks feel too. But fortunately, there's other good players on there. I think Mazi Smith is 80%, 89% of Jalen Carter. And I think I'd much rather have that. Someone who, puts his all into things. No one's ever questioned Mazi Smith's dedication or his abilities as a teammate or whatever. I'm much more a Mazi Smith guy. That's just me. Let me know in the comments what you think about that, because I would really like to know. I see in my draft one, I saw a lot of people saying Jalen Carter's a generational player. He should just be drafted. Have you read all the news reports about what he's done? I mean, give that some consideration too. We'll see. Back to Al Woods. Again, how much is his play going to decline at his age? It's uncertain. But don't feel bad for him, right? Don't feel bad. He's been a professional football player. He's got it made. A little anecdotally, I was working in college in Virginia, and Ed Simmons comes into the store I'm working at. Ed Simmons was one of the offensive linemen with the Hogs for the Redskins. Their great offensive line that they had back in the mid 90s. Ed Simmons comes in, ugliest motherfucker I've ever seen. Right, shaped like a jug of milk. His head was like, those old timey football helmets, the leather ones. It looks like he was wearing one, but he wasn't. It was just his head. That's just the way it was shaped, right? And like beat up like an old catcher's mitt, right? And big ass Super Bowl ring on his finger, and he was with the hottest woman I have ever seen in my entire life. It was like she was carved by Zeus, poured into this lycra outfit. I don't even know. I mean, my God, I'm still picturing it in my head. Ed Simmons, you lucky son of a bitch, So anyway, Woods is going to be fine whenever he retires, but hopefully he can give us at least one more season of nose tackle prowess. Okay, so back to Poona Ford. He has not been re-signed. Could he be someone that we would resign? I mean, Pete seemed like it was our fault that his production was down. Maybe they move him back over to nose and have him share time with Al Woods and a drafty. Maybe we have a nice 3-man rotation and nose happening. I think that's a possibility. So, I think that we're on the right track. We have a dynamic player who can rush the passer from this position that we haven't really seen before. We have a solid defensive tackle in Jarran Reed. We lost some production, some quality run defense in Shelby Harris. Brian Monet, can he come back from his obliterated leg? I really hope he can. I'd love to see 366 pounds in the center of our line there. That would be nice. I wish Quentin Jefferson the best. And hope we can bring back Poona. That is our defense line so far. Miles Adams is in there too. I never really considered him a very good player, but he's under contract. I think he might be. Maybe it's a futures contract. I don't know. But we had Miles Adams last year. His position's up in the air right now, but I don't really feel like he's a vital cog in our machine, if you know what I mean. No offense to Miles Adams, of course. Just saying. As far as nose tackles go, I think that there could be an upgrade there. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Who should we target? Do you have a favorite? Like, obviously, I'm a big Mozzie Smith guy. Is someone out there a Saika guy? Is someone out there a Broderick Thomas, or the guy from Western Kentucky? He's pretty good. So who do you like in this draft that we maybe put at nose tackle, or just maybe some traditional 3-4 ends that you'd like to see on the team too? Let me know. I would love to hear what you think, and we'll talk next time. Maybe we'll talk about the linebackers next time, because that is another area of obvious concern. All right, well, guys, thank you for hanging out with me. Give me a like if you like it. Subscribe if you want to see, get notified when I put out more of these things, and I'll talk to you next time. All right, take care. Bye.